Story 1: The Vanishing Hitchhiker. The night was dark and desolate as Mark drove along the winding highway. The only companions were the rhythmic hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of leaves in the wind. Tired from a long day's drive, he longed for the comfort of his bed but knew he had several more hours ahead before reaching his destination. As he rounded a bend, he noticed a figure standing by the roadside. The hitchhiker appeared out of nowhere, a silhouette in the moonlight. Mark hesitated but decided to pull over. The stranger opened the door, and Mark caught a glimpse of a pale face framed by disheveled hair. "Thanks for stopping," said the hitchhiker, his voice barely audible. "Where are you headed?" Mark asked, trying to make small talk. "Just down the road a bit." "I'll let you know when to stop," replied the hitchhiker, gazing out into the darkness. The conversation dwindled as Mark drove on. The hitchhiker seemed lost in thought, staring into the night as if haunted by unseen specters. Mark's discomfort grew, but he pressed on, focused on reaching his destination. Finally, the hitchhiker spoke. "Here. This is the place. You can pull over here." Mark pulled to the side of the road, and the hitchhiker silently exited the car. As he watched the figure walk away, Mark couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. He called out, "Are you sure this is the right place?" No response. Mark got out of the car, scanning the surroundings. The hitchhiker had vanished into thin air. Confused and unnerved, Mark approached a nearby house to inquire if anyone knew the person he had just dropped off. A cautious resident opened the door, and Mark described the hitchhiker's appearance. The color drained from the resident's face. "You're not the first to tell this story," the resident said solemnly. "That hitchhiker matches the description of a young man who died in a car accident on this very road years ago. People claim to see him, and he always vanishes at the spot where the accident occurred." Mark shivered, realizing he had encountered a ghostly hitchhiker. He thanked the resident and got back into his car, driving away with a newfound sense of unease. The image of the hitchhiker's vacant stare lingered in his mind as he continued his journey through the haunted night, the highway stretching out before him, veiled in an eerie silence. Story 2: The Haunted Bridge. It was a moonless night when four friends, Alex, Sarah, Jake, and Emma, decided to embark on a late-night adventure to explore the notorious Ravens Hollow Bridge. Local legends whispered about the tragic tale of a family that met their untimely end there many years ago, and the bridge had since gained a sinister reputation. As the group approached the bridge in Alex's old station wagon, a dense fog began to envelop the road, shrouding the world in an otherworldly haze. The air was thick with tension, but the thrill of the unknown spurred them on. The bridge emerged from the fog like a specter, its rusted metal frame casting eerie shadows. The friends hesitated for a moment, exchanging nervous glances, but excitement got the better of them. With a collective breath, they crossed onto Ravens Hollow Bridge. The atmosphere changed instantly. The air seemed charged with an unnatural energy, and the friends felt a chilling presence as they inched further into the heart of the bridge. The only sound was the hollow echo of their footsteps against the metal grating. Suddenly, the car stalled, its engine sputtering into silence. Panic set in as they tried to restart it, but it seemed as though the vehicle had succumbed to the supernatural forces surrounding them. In the stillness, whispers began to echo, carrying haunting messages from the shadows. Emma's eyes widened as she saw faint, ghostly figures moving at the edge of her vision. The others, too, felt an unseen gaze upon them, and a cold wind sent shivers down their spines. Dread seeped into their hearts as they contemplated their next move. Just as fear threatened to overwhelm them, a flickering light appeared at the end of the bridge. A figure materialized, a spectral hitchhiker, waving them toward safety. Without exchanging words, the friends decided to follow the mysterious guide. The whispers grew louder, almost frantic, warning them to leave the bridge. As they reached the other side, the hitchhiker vanished, leaving the group alone in the dissipating fog. Shaken and wide-eyed, the friends stared back at Raven's Hollow Bridge. In the distance, they heard the haunting wail of an approaching siren, and red and blue lights flickered in the fog. As the police car pulled up, an officer emerged, his expression grave. "You folks shouldn't be here," he warned, confirming the stories they had heard. "This bridge is haunted by the spirits of a family that lost their lives here years ago. Many have reported strange occurrences and unexplained phenomena. Consider yourselves lucky to be leaving unharmed." As the friends drove away, the bridge disappeared into the fog behind them. The spectral hitchhiker's warning lingered in their minds, a chilling reminder of the thin veil between the living and the supernatural. Raven's Hollow Bridge, forever etched in their memories, became a tale they would tell for years to come, a story of a night when the paranormal touched the realm of the living. Story 3, The Phantom Hitchhiker's Warning. It was a moonless night on the winding roads of Ravenwood County. Jake, a weary traveler, drove his car through the thick fog that clung to the trees like ghostly fingers. The only sound was the rhythmic hum of his engine and the occasional hoot of an owl in the distance. As Jake navigated the desolate highway, he noticed a figure standing by the roadside. A hitchhiker, seemingly out of place in the middle of nowhere. Against his better judgment, Jake decided to pull over and offer a ride. The hitchhiker, a mysterious silhouette in the dim light, climbed into the back seat without a word. The journey continued in silence, the hitchhiker providing only vague directions. Jake attempted to strike up a conversation, but the stranger remained enigmatic, offering only brief responses. Despite the unsettling atmosphere, Jake pressed on, following the hitchhiker's instructions. As they approached a deserted crossroad, the hitchhiker's voice cut through the silence. "Turn left here, and you'll avoid a terrible fate," the figure whispered. Startled, Jake hesitated but ultimately complied, curiosity overcoming his unease. The road led them through dense woods, the shadows playing tricks on Jake's imagination. The hitchhiker, now almost ethereal in the dim light, continued to guide him. Suddenly, the fog lifted, revealing a twisted wreck of a car by the side of the road. The remnants of a tragic accident. "This is where I died," the hitchhiker confessed in a soft voice, sending shivers down Jake's spine. "You were meant to take a different path, but fate has a way of redirecting us." With those haunting words, the hitchhiker faded away, leaving Jake alone on the silent road. Bewildered, he continued his journey, haunted by the encounter. As he drove into the next town, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had just crossed paths with something beyond the realm of the living. Days later, Jake learned about a notorious accident that had occurred on the road he was meant to take. It sent chills down his spine when he realized that the hitchhiker had saved him from a similar fate. Was the mysterious figure a guardian spirit, a phantom hitchhiker with a purpose to protect those who crossed its path? The memory of that eerie night lingered with Jake, a reminder that sometimes, the line between the living and the dead is blurred, and the choices we make on desolate roads can have otherworldly consequences.